English 1 Honors, this is going to be your lecture video for your second Common Lit during the week of April 6th. So today we're talking about the passage Rethinking, one of psychology's most infamous experiments on Common Lit. So you can see that this particular passage has a due date of April 9th. And if you go to your nonfiction notes on Canvas and go to slide 7, I've already put in your notes for this particular passage. So, and then Common Lit, your passage is going to look like this. So for the passage, we're going to continue with the thesis approach. So to begin, we look at the title of the passage. Based on the title, what can you infer the passage is about? Do you know what psychology's most infamous experiment is? These are questions you should consider being able to respond to. It's just kind of to get your mind going about focusing on this particular passage. After reading the passage, you definitely should know the answers to these questions. So next, we can see that there are no headings being used in this passage. So we'll move on and look at the introduction. The introduction of this particular passage, we're given information in regards to the setting, which was 1961 at Yale. And we know that a scientist was conducting an experiment where he was paying people to participate in a particular study. Based on the passage title and this introduction paragraph, we can infer that the study he was conducting and paying people to participate in must be the infamous experiment the title is referring to. So then moving on, we are able to look at the first sentence of each paragraph. The first sentence of each paragraph, aside from being able to give you a main idea of what that paragraph will be about, we can see again, similar to we did earlier this week, that these sentences are giving us contrast and progression of the experiment the article is discussing. The visual to this passage is one of sparks, which relates to what the experiment that is being conducted. And for V, we also have vocabulary, which after reading the article, we can tell that most of that vocabulary has a psychology kind of connotation to it. Then we have the end of the passage questions. So these are your questions from Common Lit. A lot of your passage questions for Common Lit this time are going to ask us to focus on main idea, the purpose, and the process of the study. So make sure that you know and understand the main idea, the purpose, and the process, because those are the big takeaways for this particular passage. And then lastly, as a summary for this passage, Milgram's experiment had continued interest over the years, but now scientists focus on what new information they can get since the original experiment had its drawbacks. And then let's go to your short answer question. What connection does the author draw between Milgram's personal history and his experiments? Cite evidence from the text in your answer. Okay, so guys, remember, make sure that you are citing part of the passage when you respond to this question, and you need to make sure that you discuss the personal connection that Milgram felt to his experiment due to his Jewish background and the Nazi trials that were taking place at the time. If you want to get full credit for your short answer response, this is what your answer should focus on, and you need to make sure that you cite the text properly. If you don't cite properly or don't answer all parts of the question, or if you have grammatical errors, capitalization, spelling, and punctuation, I'm going to have to dock points, okay? As a reminder, don't forget that you have your nonfiction literary terms quiz on Thursday, April 9th. So let's go back and look at those and see which ones we can apply to our passage. We don't have alliteration, autobiography, or biography in this one. There may be a little bit of chronological order if you consider the historical references in this particular passage. Logos, ethos, and pathos, we've already covered in a previous passage. And unfortunately, it still looks like we don't have any repetition, satire, or speech. But as long as you know the word and the definition, you'll be fine for the quiz. Okay? Don't forget that the quiz is on Thursday, April 9th. You will have 60 minutes to complete the quiz once you begin, and it will only be open from 7 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. It must be completed in one sitting, and do the best that you can. All right? Any questions? Just send me an email, let me know.